St. Joseph homeless shelter in Lorain serves dozens of men, women, and children, but they could be left out in the cold.
The shelter, run by Catholic Charities, is in jeopardy of shutting down because it doesn't meet fire safety standards. 5 on Your Side troubleshooter Joe Paganakis is on the case. Joe, can these violations at the shelter be repaired quickly?
Well, Lee, unfortunately, it's not an easy or inexpensive fix. No one will argue the importance of fire safety standards, but the homeless who depend on this shelter hope an exception will keep the shelter open until a permanent solution can be found.
If it wasn't for the shelter, who knows where I'd be? I'd probably be on the street.
The future for Magda Flores and 60 other homeless people who count on Lorain's St. Joseph shelter is very uncertain. Tonight, the shelter is facing an indefinite shutdown due to fire safety code violations.
I don't have anywhere to go. I wouldn't have anywhere to go. And I have to face the elements. Throw on as much clothes as I can.
The shelter, run by Catholic Charities since 1995, is well kept clean and was recently given nearly $60,000 in building and fire upgrades. But Fire Chief Tom Brown says the building lacks a sprinkling system and other safety features. Brown says his department has been issuing temporary permits to the shelter for the past 2 years, that the shelter has had plenty of time to make all the needed improvements. Still, Shelter Director Lou Maldonado hopes a few more temporary permits can be issued.
It's very important because some of these folks are not only homeless, but they have serious illnesses. You know, we've got people with hypertension, diabetes, congestive heart failure.
The Catholic Charities says it is working on obtaining a new location on West 14th Street, but needs additional temporary permits until that building is ready in the summer of 2014.
We're hoping that something can still be worked out at this late hour with the city, and you know, that's part of who we are as church. We're hopeful.
My appeal to the city would be that they search their hearts and their conscience and do what's right for the people that are homeless in their city.
And less than an hour ago, Lorain Mayor Chase Rittenauer called News Channel 5. Both the mayor and the Fire Chief Brown, worked out a temporary solution granting a permit extension to the shelter for the next 150 days through the beginning of April 2014. Shelter leaders will now have to meet with the fire department within the next 2 weeks to work out a fire safety plan, but that shelter will remain open tonight. On Your Side, I'm troubleshooter Joe Paganakis.